Looking for a town in Central Florida where you can exit your posh gated community and be eating gator bites within 10 minutes? Or better yet, careening across a lake in an airboat? Well, if that's the case, Oviedo might be just the place for you. And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we begin, let's talk about the name Oviedo. Around these parts, we don't pronounce it Oviedo like you would if you were speaking Spanish or maybe a different language. We don't need all those extra syllables. So if you want to sound like a local, pronounce it Oviedo and everybody will know what you're talking about. Your GPS is going to try to tell you otherwise. How long does it take to drive to Oviedo?
It takes 20 minutes to drive to Oviedo.
But around here, we just call it Oviedo. So are you ready? Welcome back to my channel, everyone. My name is Krista and I'm a realtor here in Central Florida. And if you're interested in all things related to buying or selling a home or moving to Central Florida, then be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my incredibly informative weekly videos. Let's check out this interesting mixture of beautiful real estate and old wild Florida that you can find in Oviedo. So now we're going to take a trip around some of my favorite spots in Oviedo to see if this might be a good fit for you. Stick around to the end because we're going to get to some really fun stuff. So I spent some time this past weekend in Oviedo, and I just want to point out, when you see me and I'm walking around filming myself, it was 102 degrees and it felt like I was standing on the surface of the sun, and I was dressed rather inappropriately for that kind of heat, but that's because I was having meetings with clients who were going under contract at a new construction property in Oviedo that day. So please forgive the fact that my face is bright red. But seriously, let's talk about Oviedo's location. For a lot of you, this is going to be really, really key, and one of the reasons why you're interested in Oviedo. Oviedo is located in Seminole County, just northeast of Orlando. And basically the bottom of Oviedo borders the top of UCF, or the University of Central Florida. So there are a lot of employers around UCF. Of course, UCF itself is a huge employer for people living in Oviedo, but you've got an enormous campus for Siemens and some other technical businesses around there. So a lot of employers are there, and that makes Oviedo attractive for a lot of people. On the west side, Oviedo basically runs along the border of the 417, which is a toll road. On the north, it is bordered by Lake Jessup, which is something we will talk about later on in this video. The northern part of Oviedo is rather rural, while the southern part is going to be more commercial as you get closer and closer to UCF. There are plenty of businesses, shopping plazas, and whatnot scattered throughout Oviedo, so shopping is never going to be an issue no matter where you live. The average income in Oviedo per household is $85,000, and 77% of the people living in Oviedo own their own home. The top employment category is management, followed by education. I would be leaving out something very important if I didn't talk about Oviedo schools, so let's talk about that for just a moment. Oviedo is in Seminole County, which has some of the best schools in all of Florida. And even if you don't have school-aged children, this is really important because when you go to sell your home, people with families are going to look for those better schools. So this is something to keep in mind. If you're curious about a home that you're looking at and you want to figure out what school it's zoned for, there is a way to do that. I'm going to put the website on the screen so you can search by address to figure out what school you're zoned for. I looked on greatschools.org, which is another great resource, and all the schools in Oviedo were at least a 7 out of 10, except for one, which was a 5 out of 10. I want to caution you, please don't go by what school is written in the MLS if there's one written there, because that can change or be incorrect. So if schools are important to you, do make sure you verify using the website that I just showed you. Let's talk about houses. Oviedo in general is a very well manicured and I would say established area. There's a lot of mature trees. Most of the houses are in some sort of an HOA, whether it's gated or not. And the fact that most of the homes are in an HOA tends to keep the area a bit more manicured and well kept. At this exact moment on the MLS, there are 100 single family homes for sale in Oviedo, and of those, 80 of them are in an HOA. Right now, the median home sales price in the last 90 days was $375,000. The lowest was $120,000 and the highest was about $1 million. So in that mid-range, that $375 to about $450, you'll probably get, just on average, a block home with about 2,500 square feet and a swimming pool. There are just a handful of homes in Oviedo that are older than 1980. There are very few that are very old. The median home age is from the mid-1990s, which is why you tend to see, larger trees and more mature landscaping throughout Oviedo, because the houses are, they've been there for 20 or 30 years already. As with most of Central Florida, there is a good bit of new construction going on in Oviedo, so if you prefer new, that is not a problem. What I'm showing you here is an MI Homes community called Hideaway Cove, and prices in this community start at $490. So let's check out some fun stuff now. Like I mentioned, the northern part of Oviedo tends to be much more rural. So there you'll find like vegetable stands and honey stands and airboat rides. Let's check out one place that I really enjoy in Oviedo that's right on Lake Jessup. I just spent like half an hour playing with those parrots. I'm such a sucker for parrots. Lake Jessup is really known for having big bad alligators. So anytime somebody finds an alligator like in their swimming pool or an alligator gets too big for a small pond, they catch it and transport it to Lake Jessup. And it's kind of interesting when you're driving across the 417, that toll road that I already mentioned, you can see alligator eyes and noses in the water as you're driving past. So do check that out when you're on the 417 and see if you can spot some gators. A good recreational part of Oviedo that you won't want to miss is called Oviedo on the Park, which features Center Lake Park. And some of the things that you can do and see there include an amphitheater, wedding venue, outdoor stage, a splash park, a dog park, and swan-shaped paddle boat rental. So that's going to be a great place where you can take the family on the weekends. Now, Oviedo does have a little downtown area. It's not very well developed, and a lot of it got torn down already, even though the town does date back to 1865. But one thing that it's known for is that there are chickens roaming around the downtown area. So if you do drive through there, I was able to find them at Ace Hardware, just behind the Ace Hardware, and across the street from that, there were a whole bunch. So if you get to Oviedo, be sure to look for the chickens. So that concludes my small tour of Oviedo and what you can expect to find there if you're moving to the Central Florida area. Now, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Here's my contact information. And if you live in Oviedo and I've missed something that you think is really, really important, please feel free to comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching.